Good morning, YouTube and traders. Welcome, welcome. It is Thursday, February 16th. I hope everyone is doing well. We are in a new location right now, so a little rush this morning, but there's a decent bit to talk about. The market dumped pretty aggressively. There was some Fed comments from Fed Mester this morning. There was some other news overall overnight, and an amazing opportunity for the shorts on the S&P 100 futures, where right at that top of the distribution at 41.6768. And I did post about it in Discord as well as on Twitter. So go check that out, Toro Trades on Twitter. Also, our Discord channel, right? You can check that out. Massive 50-point move right there overnight as Fed's Mester talked about a compelling case for 50 base point hike in the last FOMC meeting. And they said the Fed also, or Mester said the Fed also has more work to do to control inflation. And the Fed will need to go above 5% and stay there for a while. This sparked a lot of the downside. But there's also other news, right? We saw balloons and whatnot flying around, UFOs, China, US, and China did warn about retaliation over downing the balloon earlier this month. But last salvageable tensions, right, filled U.S. and China relations and is coming over arms sales to Taiwan. So Beijing has imposed sanctions on Lockheed Martin and a subsidiary of Raytheon Technology by adding them to a so-called unreliable entity list that aims to punish firms that jeopardize its national security, right? It comes on top of fines that are based on the contract value of their arms sales to Taiwan, which the Chinese Communist Party considers as a part of its sovereign territory. So what it means, Lockheed Martin and Raytheon will be barred from importing goods into China or making new investments in the country, but the measures are likely to be a symbolic given that both companies have little direct exposure to the nation. However, it could impact their civilian businesses in aerospace and other markets, as well as cancel and prohibit work permits for corporate managers, which could ban them from entering the country. So the bigger picture of this whole equation will be if the U.S. and China are moving farther apart, or maybe even too far to resolve their differences. So this morning, we can check out what LMT is up to. Lockheed Martin. Gap down a bit, right? RTX as well, gap down a decent bit based off that news. Shocking, right? This isn't necessarily what had plunged the market, but it's an interesting fact based on all these UFOs that have been flying around. A gauge for that could be the meeting this weekend between Secretary of State Antony Blinken and his counterpart Wang Yi on the sidelines of the Munich Security Conference. Blinken already canceled a planned trip to Beijing earlier this month following the controversy surrounding the Chinese spy balloon shootdown, and friction between the world's two largest economies also lingers over areas like trade, but the bigger economic risks are at stake with a battle over access to key cutting-edge technologies that are escalating in this semiconductor war. So that's something interesting. Semiconductors have been on a freaking tear recently, and we'll see how they pan out today. Obviously, the market is down a decent bit. Semis, right, they're down a decent bit right here off that market news, but they've been making a very strong case for this bullish move. We'll talk about where the market's kind of headed today and what some of the key areas are, because we got a significant 50-point, 60-point downside here pre-market. So in terms of the economy, trip to the brink, the U.S. Treasury Department is set to become unable to fully pay its bills sometime between July and September. The nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office forecasts in its latest economic and budget outlook that gives lawmakers as little as 6 months to reach a deal to lift that $31.4 trillion debt limit and ultimately avoid default on its obligations. So the public debt to GDP ratio, a metric that legendary investor Warren Buffett had repeatedly flagged in recent years, is also expected to reach about 118% by 2033, which would be the highest level ever recorded in U.S. debt. So it will continue to grow beyond 2033 if current laws generally remained unchanged. In terms of stocks and inflation, right, we saw, again, yesterday, if we're just moving over into the realm of levels and what's going on in the S&P, talking about futures, yesterday we saw a very strong rebid off of the 1417 region, which is something that we were talking about time and time out in the morning market update with 4132 as a key area as well. Today, pre-market, we've dived under that 17 and we've tagged about the 05. The 05 is the bottom of the key big distribution block, which I would expect to hold. And right now, as prices are Moving pre-market, we're up a decent bit just off of that 6 handle. We're up about 6 points from that level. So this is the main area I'm going to be watching today, 4105 region. See how that holds up. If they can rebid that, we can probably get a decent pop into today yet again. Rebid throughout the US session, reoffer throughout the ETH until one of these balances finally breaks. So that's just the main level that I'm looking for today. Obviously above you have the 17s and 32s. We'll see how that shapes up. And under the 4105s, you're going to be watching the 4100s. The 4100s, if that gives way, you have a pretty decent downside to come. And I'd be looking at 4073, 4060, and then you start entering distribution blocks to the downside. So shorter update, not too much to talk about today, even though there was a lot of solid movement. And with that being said, I hope everyone has an amazing trading day. We'll see you guys here tomorrow yet again to wrap up the week. And we might be done on the day, right? We had that overnight move. There's not too much else to look at. We're going to see if there's kind of opportunities today. But with that being said, come check us out at TradeProAcademy.com. The new futures course is dropping very soon where you can learn order flow and read the DOM like you're supposed to realistically. And from there, check us out, TradeProAcademy.com. Our futures room is open. We got a lot of great stuff in there, and the community.TradeProAcademy.com as well. So thank you guys. Hope you guys have a great Thursday, and let's get ready for Friday and the weekend. So thank you and take care.